Tippy time my damies, Tucker here and welcome back to the channel. The wormhusk is a fairly popular exotic amongst the hunter community. Dodging gives you a small bump of health and a shield bump. However, by using the innovation and recuperation mods we can get a superior heal. And using the radiant dance machines we can have an infinite loop of dodges, giving us the ability to give and fight hard in close quarters. Powerful attraction has flown somewhat under the radar so far, but for our hunters it's actually stupid good, as by using my dodge it's going to collect orbs of power in a 15-meter radius. We pair this with the Reaper mod to create orbs on weapon kills post dodge. This will create a perpetual loop similar to that of our strongest hunter build, using the combination blow and the gambler's dodge combo for our arc hunters. It's popular because we have infinite melees and infinite heals. But now any subclass can play this way, and the results are something special. This video will break down the 5 builds I use with the Radiant Dance Machines. They'll be segmented in the timeline below if you're looking for a certain subclass, and I'll make sure to leave dim links in the description below. Hit that like button and sub if you're new. With that said, first we take a look at the Void subclass. And it all begins with our Vanishing Step. Having an infinite source of invis dodge is a really powerful tool. All we need to do is get a kill within 10 seconds. And this is very easy when they don't see you coming. After every kill we just dodge again to once again lurk in the shadows. We pair this with the Gambler's Dodge to give us a free smoke bomb, and we're going to spend said smoke bomb on the Trapper's Ambush aspect. We activate our melee in air to descend to the ground, creating a smoke cloud on impact. This will disorientate and weaken enemies. This was significantly buffed inside Season 21, and now this effect has doubled. It now lasts for 8 seconds, making our foes much easier to prey upon whilst they are trapped inside that fart cloud. We then add Echo of Harvest. By defeating weaker targets, this creates orbs of power and avoid breach. So now the combo can go dive bomb, dodge, weapon kill, or dodge, dive bomb, weapon kill, and we produce 2 orbs per kill. Add a weapon siphon and you'll be making 3 orbs per kill. I'm also using both firepower and heavy handed to make orbs of power on both our grenade kills and our melee kills. Now your grenades can obviously pump out orbs, but in the past our Void Hunter melee would never be considered a showstopper. However, seeing as we have a repeatable application of them now, you'll be surprised just how often you actually get a melee kill. Now the Void version of this build will not require you to use Better Already or Recuperation mods, as our Void subclass has access to Echo of Starvation. By picking up an Orb of Power or a Void Breach, we are granted Devour. Devour gives us both full health and grenade energy when we get a kill. So this won't give you that instant heal on the dodge, but rather on the kill. I chose to use Echo of Instability. This build has a lot of uptime with grenades, so we can easily make use of that volatile on top of our weaken. Your last fragment is Dealer's Choice. I've been liking Echo of Obscurity for invisibility after our finishes. I tend to run my Void Hunter for harder content like GMs, where you really have to play your life, so the more I'm invis, the safer I'm going to be. For charging mods, we've gone with the powerful attractions, Elemental Charge, Stacks on Stacks, and Charged Up. So now when our dodge kill combo creates a minimum of 2 orbs of power, that can be converted into double that to give us 4 stacks of armor charge. This in turn will fuel our grenade kickstarter, so we can utilize the Void's best grenade, the Vortex grenade, every 10 seconds, despite the fact it has the largest cooldown. We also run Bomber, Innovation, and Ashes to Assets, so we can boost our super charge rate. Bows like the Wishender and the Monarch work really well with this build, as they have great stopping power, so you can easily one-tap kill, regardless of the level of content you're in. This way you don't stay out of invis for all that long, but the build actually works even better as a sword build. I've been using my crafted gold tusk with Hungry Edge to hold 78 strikes, Swordmaster's Guard, and the two traits are Tireless Blade and Chain Reaction. This combo allows us to kill groups of enemies with just one swing of the sword, and not only do we get ammo back on kills, we can actually make more ammo than we put in. With infinite invis, melees, health, and really quick grenades, we can run straight through waves of enemies with ease. But this sword does not just work well with our Void subclass, I've also been using it with the Stasis one. Stasis plays similar to that of Void, but rather than stealing time in the shadows, we are stretching time with both slow and freeze. Its core 4 mods are Reaper, Powerful Attraction, Better Already, and Recuperation. This will create us that superior wormhusk heal, and allow us to duck, dive, and dodge in and amongst our foes. We then pair it with Elemental Charge, Grim Harvest, Whisper of Conduction, and Whisper of Rhyme. By defeating any slowed or frozen combatants, you create stasis shards. These will feed us back melee energy. Whisper of Conduction will make these shards track towards you. Unlike Fire Sprites, Tangles, and Breaches, these don't have a 10-second lockout. Any enemy slowed or frozen will create these shards, which is really good because we want lots of them so we will be able to produce an overshield. And the Elemental Charge mod will collect these and convert them into an armor charge. I find the Dustfield Grenade to be the best suited for this build, as it will slow a larger group of enemies, buying you that time to choose the method of your enemy's demise, whilst also affording you more shards. This grenade also has a really quick charge rate. It should be thought of more as a utility though, rather than a bullet. Gambler's Dodge will allow us to debuff all our enemies with our shurikens. As these ricochet from target to target, there really shouldn't be any enemy on the battlefield that isn't slowed. Touch of Winter Aspect will make our dust fields even larger, allowing us to slow even more bad dudes. And lastly, Durance and Refraction. Durance will make our slow abilities last longer and linger with that slow effect for longer. This essentially makes it easier to convert those slows into freezes. Refraction will feed us class ability when defeating slowed or frozen targets. Now why would we use this on an infinite dodge build, you ask? Sometimes you might have to spend longer than 10 seconds taking down an enemy, so you'll probably lose that kill chain. Also, sometimes you have to transition from area to area, so this is a great way to charge that dodge fast so you can start back on your killing frenzy. Our next batch of mods are Bomber, Impact Induction, Heavy Handed, and Grenade Kickstarter. We dodge to get back some grenade energy and a free melee via Gambler's Dodge. Our melees get a kill creating an orb of power. Impact Induction feeds us further grenade energy on melee damage. Grenade Kickstarter then feeds us back 40% of our grenade charge. So now we've got infinite dodges making us infinite melees for infinite health, and we have a 12-second grenade cooldown. The conditional finality plays really well with this build. We need to play up close and personal to suck up all those orbs and collect those stasis shards. So a weapon like this comes in very handy, as it can slow down that rate of play by freezing our enemy combatants. So it's really great against unstops, and the second ignition shot is wicked good at shattering peeps you might have already frozen. Whisper of Fishes increases the damage and size of the burst of the stasis crystal when you destroy said stasis crystal or defeat a frozen target. Not only does this make our melees, nades, and super damage more powerful, but it'll also increase the splash damage done through your conditional finality. For our third subclass, I wanted to take another look at Strand. We will be getting a new Strand aspect for each subclass inside Season 22. I'm hoping this will embellish this build, as whilst our other aspects work fine here, they don't loop here. Suspension is a massive part of our Strand kits. The Ensnaring Slam got patched so we can only just apply it the once. It used to be the case that we could repetitively apply this, but Bungie saw to it, nerfed it, got rid of it because it really was freaking strong. So now when you do the slam, it just cuts off your class ability, so you can no longer chain it. Because of this, we are going to be using the Threaded Spectre. When we dodge, we leave behind a little shadow clone that once destroyed turns into threadlings that attack. Now Bungie thought ahead this time and made it so we can only use that first dodge to create the shadow clone. In order to create a second clone, you're going to need to let your multi-dodge run out. Thankfully, much like our solar and stasis builds, we have a method to quickly regenerate our class ability. However, I am fairly certain I'll be swapping to the new aspect come Season 22. When selecting your dodges, there's no wrong choice here. Marksman can be handy for sure, but I tend to like the Marksman dodge for DPS phases. If I was wanting DPS, I would probably just opt for the solar build of the Radiant Dance Machines, as you'll be able to push out much more damage having a burst super versus a roaming super. Also, I really wanted to make the most of the threaded spike melee, so I've opted to go for the Gambler's Dodge. With this rope dart applying Sever to our targets, it makes their damage output a lot less, making it a lot safer for those close quarter battles. It also got buffed this season with a 30% range increase, and it's hitting 55% harder. I do like that it returns melee energy to us, but I like the infinite dodge, infinite melee more. So all will be severed. And with Threat of Warning, we'll have 100% uptime with Woven Mail, turning us into a little tank. Our Void Hunter hides from the damage, our Stasis delays it, but our Strand Hunter just bathes in it. Sever knocks off 30% damage, and Mail eats another 60% of it, making you virtually unkillable if you have those two paired together. Once again, we're going to combo the Reaper, Powerful Attractions, Recuperation, and Better already. We do have a spare space on our boots if you wanted to run a Surge mod, Holster, or Scavenger. I, however, just stacked in another Recuperation, but dealer's choice. This Strand Hunter feels absolutely ravenous and is perhaps the strongest, as we just eat damage like it was Mama's packed lunch. Num num num. Widow's Silk will give you 2 Shackle Grenades. As stated at the top of our Strand kit, suspension is everything. As we are continuously power creeping through Destiny 2, Bungie reacts by throwing more and more champs at us. The new Battleground GMs are a great example of this, with champ after Lucent Hive after champ. Our enemies come at us thick and fast, and we've got more Battlegrounds joining the roster next season. So a steady stream of Shackle Grenades is just what the Doctor ordered. The pairing of Generation and Mind was an instant classic. Generation feeds us that grenade energy when applying damage of any kind, and Mind will allow us to get back class ability when killing suspended targets. So for whatever reason your dodge has timed out, just yeet out a grenade and you'll have that dodge back to you and you'll be ready to start the party again. As previous, Bomber, Impact Induction, and Grenade Kickstarter will expedite our grenade charge, as it's not just extra champs Bungie expects us to overcome, it's also the amount of enemies. It used to be a mere handful of hives scurrying out of a cave, now we're getting battalions of Vex literally dropped on our heads, so the more shackles we have, the better. And lastly, Threat of Continuity will just extend your kit's timers. This Strand build is great for non-boss raid encounters, GMs, story missions, and lost sectors. But if there is a raid or dungeon boss that needs taking down, Solar is most definitely the way to go. With Solar we play it 2 ways, so I've made 2 builds, Ad Clear and DPS. We've got the 2 builds and they share certain similarities, but they are interchangeable during the encounter. In order to change builds mid-encounter, your core aspects and fragments need to remain the same, so you don't lose your ability or super energy. So our aspects are both knock 'em down and on your mark. Knock 'em down will make our supers stronger whilst radiant, and will make our knife trick kills instantly refund. On your mark is predominantly for the use of the 3 fragment slots. However, being that this build is a dodge build, it definitely does come in handy having increased weapon handling and reload speed. This perk is pretty much up full time, which makes your gunplay very comfortable. For our running guns, I use Knife Trick and Healing Grenade. The Knife Trick is my favorite melee, as its scorches are the best, and it also offers a level of forgiveness whilst you're ducking and diving amongst your foes. We then equip Torches, Solace and Imperium. So now our knives will make us Radiant, and our nade Restoration. Imperium will allow us to chain kills to extend both of these, and Solace will push out our timer to 12 seconds. Ember of Ashes and Singeing create us a path to easy class ability regeneration. Now, much like our Stasis and Strand, we could create that dodge through scorching targets with our melee. This is very handy for our Solar Hunter, as during our damage phases we'll be using dodge reloads, and once this time's out we want a quick path back to get it again. So we'll do one 10-second damage phase, chuck a grenade, chuck a knife, and that way we can get back that dodge so we can do another 10-second damage phase. But I'm getting ahead of myself, we'll circle back to that. Our running guns uses the Gambler's Dodge to feed us knives on top of knives. We'll be keeping that base combo of Reaper, Powerful Attraction, Recuperation and Better Already. This plays similar to that of the Strand one, but instead of just eating that damage, we're going to out-heal it. But with Restoration looping on top of our knock-off wormhusk, it ain't no problem at all though. Pick your favorite solar weapon, it doesn't matter what it is, but ideally you want to have plenty of ammo, as this will be the means of which you predominantly cycle your Radiant and Restoration. Stacks on Stacks, Charged Up, Heavy-Handed, Impact Induction, Grenade Kickstart, and Bomber will again be the bedrock of this build. However, this is less about us and more about the team. We've already got tons of heals, but it's nice to just keep throwing these out there to keep your fire team alive to fight beside you. Now when it comes to our DPS build, some abilities and mods will be changing here. In the dim links below, it'll be Solar Adclair and Solar DPS. For example, we're going to switch to a Fusion Grenade and Marksman Dodge. Pumping out big damage numbers is about three things predominantly. Burst Supers will give us more time with our weapons. Of course you're going to need a big ticket weapon like the Cold Comfort or something, but most of your damage can actually be found in the quick reloads and weapon swaps. Hunters are very strong here, as your dodge reload can buy you precious seconds during a damage phase. So we couple that with those big ticket items like rocket launchers or parasites, and with the IDMs you'll easily pump out over 1 million in damage in just a 10-second window. When it comes to your weapon selection, you need to consider surge mods, of which we'll be triple stacking these. Merciless is a really powerful solar weapon that can do complete mag dump in under 10 seconds. So if you pair that with something like Hidden Vengeance or an Apex Predator, it's a tidy little combo. There are equally great arc combinations like using a fourth horseman with either a Wendigo or a Hothead. And now thanks to the Ghost Dungeon, we also have that Cold Comfort rocket launcher. It can store several rounds in that mag, allowing us to dump 7 rockets without a manual reload. And it also pairs with one of my favourite weapons, the Stasis fusion, the Riptide. We still use Powerful Attraction and Reaper. We add Time Dilation to extend the surge timer. Double stack our reserve mods, charged up for another 15 seconds of surge. Heavy-handeds so we can get a surge pre-damage phase. And you're going to want a loader for that roughly 6 seconds where you don't have dodge ability. All 5 of these builds will be in the description below. I couldn't pick a favourite myself, hence why I crafted 5 of them. But I'd love it if you guys could let me know your favourite in the comments down below. The Radiant Dance Machines play so much better than the wormhusk in my opinion. We've got endless dodges, heals, melees and a 12-second grenade cooldown regardless of the charge rate of any grenade. If you like it, make sure you thumbed it. If you're new, sub it, and until next time, tippy time my damies, what a tie.